Help her get the dirt off. That's it. I don't think he was trying to be weird.
Why did she say no?
Why what?
Why did she say no?
To touch her butt. If he was just trying to be helpful. Thank you.
Hi. I need a couple minutes.
I already fed you. It was me who actually did it. You saw a dog on the train. I gave it a hot dog. You did? He did. With the yeah. We asked. Like a beagle slash dachshund slash oh my gosh corgi slash Rhodesian Ridgeback. Like it was a lot, but it was really cute. It was named Santana. Carlos Lorenzen. The female dog.
Is there a way to turn the water off up here?
Yep, that's my point.
Owned by a guy who seems to me to be gay.
What? Left. I'm fixing it.
What? Oh, fun.
Okay.
It was pretty chill.
This one? Yeah. Turn it which way? Okay.
Ryan, are you there?
Yeah. Hold on, Rose. I'll be right there.
No.
Yeah, one side turns on, the other side doesn't.
Now go ahead.
No.
No?
No.
So it doesn't sound like it's running anymore?
No, it's the whatever the top is it's loose.
I gotta tighten the seal more.
Yeah, I couldn't see it at first, but the whole back side is sprayed with water.
Yeah, it wasn't doing that at all.
Yeah, it sounded like water was running, and then I started hearing this dripping, and I was like super confused what was going on. Okay.
Yay!
Well, at least it didn't do it the entire time you were at work.
A lot. You
No.
have 3 hot dogs, man.
It's not bad.
Giving them away at the end.
I don't think it's bad.
All right, make this.
I tried to, yeah.
I'm gonna go watch the movie. Good night, buddy.
Okay. Well, it's fine. It's at least the water's off.
And that's how you turn a valve off, by the way. That's called a valve.
Okay.
Thanks. I was just trying to help.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on, Rose. Okay, bye.
Bye, Rose. Bye, Rose.
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you. Hold on.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? No?
Hello?
Hi.
Nothing. Nada.
Hi?
Let me try a different, hold on. Let me leave and come back.
Okay.
Okay, talk.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Thing. Nada. All right, let me try something.
Hello?
No.
Turn around and go back. I will answer your question whenever it is you have with your pen. Cannot stay in bed.
She's lonely. I think I can hear things now. Jen, this cheese is really good. Babe. Jen? The cheese is so good. The cheese. Hello? Yay!
Give me a sec.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
That's not your fault.
I think it was. Somehow it was. Oh, Jen, the toddy is also delish. Let me close this door.
Yeah, sorry. So David decided to. I had the day off today, so David decided to install a sink, and
Dog. He's like sitting there on the podcast. All right, I'm closing the door. Love you. Come say hi.
What's up, Brian?
David installed a new sink today, and I noticed. Yeah, it was upstairs in the upstairs bathroom, and I noticed water leaking from the ceiling. So then I called him, and he's like telling me which valve to turn off, and he's like, "That's how you turn off a valve." And it was really hard for me to go, "Yeah, now how do you install a sink?"
Oh, snap. I mean, I'm sure it was just like a connection to fix or whatever, but
It's just it's where one of the things screws into the other thing was loose, and so I tried to make it tighter, and I made it looser. So Riverdale.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out.
So now we have
Good
cold
try.
water in the sink upstairs. Well, before he
Well, you're gonna
fixes
take a
it.
shower right now anyway.
Well, shower's fine. It's just the faucet.
So you have to wash your hands in cold water or brush your teeth with cold water.
Upstairs.
It's
Till he
like,
fixes it. We have a downstairs bathroom, which is where I usually brush my teeth. So
well, then I guess you're fine. It's not that big of a deal. It's a good thing you noticed.
yeah, that's what I mean. I should get credit for that.
You should get a lot of credit. You noticed and addressed the problem right away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's water damage now in the living room, but there was already from other things. So I had 2 job interviews since last time I talked to you, I think, or I had the one.
How'd it go?
But I had another one that went pretty good, and then I got a second interview at the first one.
Oh, this is exciting. Do you like the jobs? Like, do you like it, or are you just killing time?
I mean, like, I want to get interview skills again, you know.
Yeah.
So, no, I think one I didn't really take that seriously, and I think I was way more relaxed. But I mean, the first interview went fine. I think it just it didn't seem like the woman who was running it really loved me, but maybe she was just trying to screen people out for the first thing. She might still not. I don't know. I'm gonna go to the second interview.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you'll see. Where is it?
I have another one in Monday. They're all in shitty Massachusetts towns.
That's
So,
okay.
They
That's where you
haven't.
work now.
Yeah, they haven't opened up any other director jobs. So we'll see.
You'll see.
I kind of want the one that the lady didn't like me, because I think it's more, the expectations are more for what a library director does. They mentioned that they don't have an IT person, and so I think they want me to help with the computers and shit. So I'll help as much as I can, but it's like I'm also not
No,
the
you're not an
IT
IT
person. So
I think that doesn't sound good not to have an IT person at a library. Like, somebody needs to be
our town
able
only
to
got
like
one. Our town only just got one last year, so we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to go back and talk to them. It's like a couple weeks from now, so.
emergency. You get your paycheck in the meantime. All right.
I still have all this other work to do at my job I have now, so I'm just trying to get through all that too.
You are employed.
I know.
Even if it's not like
I had a board meeting and we did our budget this year, and so I budgeted for like the assistant director position and this full-time employee to get a raise, and then we're adding this woman we hired temporarily permanently.
Mhm.
And so they were like, the budget's too high. There's this one woman who says that every time I submit a budget. So is that it was like less than $30,000 more, and it was at 6% increase, which like they always do that, and it's like who cares what the increase is? So
yeah, it's within normal bounds for whatever the reason of what you're gonna do is.
yeah. So I mean, like, she's like, there's too many people that work at the library, is also what she said, because that's her opinion. So we decided to keep the assistant director job because it adds 8 full-time staffing hours,
Yeah.
and not promote the other employee. So it was like we had to pick one. So
Well, I mean, that's how budgeting works. I mean, you always have to have trade-offs.
sure, but I don't. They're like, well, this won't go through. Well, I mean, I think it would have gone through from my conversations I've had with other people, because everybody knew that we were going to be doing this assistant director thing. But to be fair, I guess they don't have all of the information, but when it's like the employee that I like the best and who's the most capable, and she's doing 38 hours now and not getting compensated for it. But she's aware of that wasn't going to happen because I tried to get her a raise then.
Yeah.
And this was one of the things where they asked me to leave the room. So that was a whole thing. So really, when she took the full-time job, she was part-time when I got there. She became full-time. I said, I want to put you at 38 hours. And the job was at 32. And she didn't want 38 hours. She wanted to remain at 32. So that was 2 years ago. And in a way, she did it to herself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's fine. Maybe she did. Maybe 32 was working for her. That's fine.
Because she knows the situation. Hi, Jen.
Ryan says hi. Olive?
Electronically.
No, I see what you're saying. You know what you should do next time, though? Is put other shit in the budget that would be nice to have, but you don't really want. And then they can just say that no to that stuff, and then you can get the stuff you want.
I mean, like, our merit increases are like over 2%, and now the budget is 3.3% more, which is like barely it's just the raises and like a couple other small things. So I mean, if they really want to do new stuff, we're not going to do that. So
no, and if you can't, you can't. I mean, it is what it is. It's like you have the resources you have. Maybe they really don't have it. I don't know. That's budgeting for you, though. Nobody gets everything they want.
I mean, we didn't even have a conversation with people. So, I mean, it's funny, but this woman thinks it's her job to slash the library budget when I have to get it reviewed by the town administration and then the finance advisory committee. So it's their responsibility to review the budget and tell me whether or not there's too much money, not really the library trustees. What the trustees are supposed to do is to advocate for library services, which this woman doesn't do. And she's the loudest one.
How do they become the trustees and they're the worst?
They're elected and they run unopposed. So it's like you win by default.
That's horrible.
She was the woman who called in on my review to tell me all her problems with me because she couldn't be there. She's been there since I got there. She needs to go. So I'm trying to find.
They are terrible at running a library.
Well,
I find somebody to run against them.
I run the library. They just, stop me from doing my job. At this point, that's really a lot of what they do.
I mean, and then they're bad at like doing. It's not like they stop you from doing your job and then they come up with like a good idea or they do anything positive. They suck. Find somebody to run against them.
She does. It's not everybody, but she does. So.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
I'm glad that you got your assistant director anyway.
Well, I don't have it yet, so. We're
They have
budgeting
to
for
vote.
them.
I see. But then they have to vote on the budget.
Yeah, we have a meeting in 2 weeks where we're just voting in what I did, I think. So,
Right, because by then they know everything and there's nothing new for them to comment on. Well, you know, this is why you go on interviews. But like, do other towns have the same sort of situation with library trustees and like this kind of town meeting structure?
the job I'm interviewing for now has 3 trustees instead of 6. So,
Could be better, it could be worse.
true.
You get
But
to
I
meet
feel
the
like
trustees.
I met all of them.
Like when you
Yeah, all of them were there.
I see. Very different. I mean, then, you know, just going to a place and like interviewing for a job within a structure. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The library was just renovated recently, and it's bigger. So
That's
they
good.
want me to do like a 5-year plan there, which is something I do in the first year. So I either have to do that at my current job or my next job. I'm figuring. So it doesn't really matter where the fuck I do it.
Yeah, as long as somebody's paying you.
They liked that I had an idea to incentivize getting rid of library fines by having people fill out a survey. So you fill out a survey, you don't have to pay overdue fees. They thought that was a good idea.
That is a good idea. I'd fill out
Thank you. I do that. That's my idea.
Why don't people want to fill out a survey?
Because it's boring.
Surveys are the best.
Well, I should have you fill out my survey.
I love filling out surveys. I truly do. But then if I judge the survey, I'm like, this is a terrible survey.
Well, maybe I'll have you help
Okay.
me look at my survey when I do it. So
I'd love to. I don't go to that library or know anything about it, but I'm sure I'll be great at addressing your survey questions. All right, should we do this?
yeah. I have to work. I also have to work tomorrow, so I'm not excited about that.
Oh
I had today off.
All right, let's
Riverdale.
just Riverdale then. Let me know when you are ready.
Now.
Okay. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Rose.
See, it always makes me laugh. I'm so excited to be here with you this evening to talk about Riverdale, Chapter 19, Death Proof.
Did you ever see the movie Death Proof?
Did I? I don't know.
It was a movie with Kurt Russell. A couple years ago, there was this double feature called Grindhouse, and there was this Planet Terror movie with Rose McGowan, who had like an M16 as her leg, where they like fight zombies at the end. And then the second movie was I think it was directed by Quentin Tarantino. I'm almost positive, and it's about Kurt Russell's character is this guy named Stuntman Mike, and he like picks up ladies in his tricked out car, and then he either smashes into other ladies and kills them or kills his passengers. And then, but at the end, he tries to run down these ladies, and then they run him down, and then they smash his face in.
Spoilers for Death Proof, the movie from a long time ago by Tarantino. Well, this episode of Riverdale was directed by Maggie Kiley, who I know.
You know her?
Yeah, I used to work with her at the Atlantic Theater Company. She kind of did like special events, and I was working as a development associate, and she helped me kind of learn my job, and to she was a very helpful person at the company, and she's an actor and a director. Episode of Riverdale, and she also directed an episode of what is that thing called? American Horror Story, I think. I'm just.
Is she going to be able to give us Riverdale Skinny?
She just directed this episode, as far as I know. So I hope they give her a chance to do some more. It was a good episode. I thought there were some really cool shots, and it got a lot of stuff lot of new shit happened in 1 hour. But I was so excited that like somebody I personally have met and worked with was doing this episode. It was really exciting for me, and I congratulated her on Twitter.
This past weekend too, I went to the Sunday day of the Providence Comic-Con, which I probably never do that again. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I feel like it was so crazy. So, but I resisted the urge to buy you some. They had like art prints of the Riverdale people in a couple different booths, and some of them were great. One of them was like, I think it was Archie, and it was Jughead, and then it was Cheryl Blossom. And I was like, are these the 3 characters you're most inspired by? That was my question to the artist. I thought it was funny.
What did they say?
They just were like, those were my favorite, the ones I thought would make good prints, because he didn't do Betty or Veronica, and I thought it was interesting he picked Cheryl as the 3rd. So, but it was very red. It had a very red background. It was pretty fiery, right?
Everybody likes Cheryl. I mean, pictures of Cheryl are going to be flying off the shelves. Although I feel like a better choice would have been Betty, Veronica, and Cheryl. Nobody needs an Archie in there.
Can we?
The patriarchy is dead.
I feel like we should talk about Penelope Blossom's triumphant return in this episode for at least 20 to 30 minutes. I loved her. No, Rose, were you as excited as I was when she was just creaming up her burned hand, her burned arm? What?
She doesn't seem to be very burned. Like, for somebody whose face was recently wrapped in bandages and had like at least 2nd-degree burns all over her body, she seems to have baby smooth skin.
Now, you may not know this, but do you know what cures burns? Is immersing yourself in a giant vat of maple syrup.
Oh.
So completely restored her complexion. Her arm, she's gotta put herself down with her arm, and so her arm hasn't gotten the same treatment. It was heavily maple syrup cream that she was rubbing into her arm later in the episode.
I understand. Well, I guess it's good to see Penelope back, and she actually does some stuff in this episode. Like, I really still feel for Cheryl Blossom. I really do. Well, should we start at the beginning, or do you want to talk about Cheryl first?
No, you can. Why don't you take us through the journey that is Riverdale, and then I will just interrupt you and comment, because I feel like that's our current jive, you know?
Okay. All right. So the first thing that happens is, first of all, we're dealing with the fallout of what happened last episode, which is that Nikki St. Clair roofied Cheryl Blossom and was going to rape her until Josie, the Pussycats, and Veronica came up and stomped his face, which I'm still not over and still love. Then Betty gave the Black Hood Nikki's name as somebody she wishes to see, like, you know, X'd out of life. And then she kind of, like, I guess, was worried about that or had second thoughts and ran over to Nikki's hotel room to try to save him or stop this or warn him, I guess. And that's where we pick up this episode with the sheriff walking into Nikki's room and saying, I need to see you down at the station. Betty is on the phone with the Black Hood, like, all the time.
They're just like, they're on their speed dial. You know, like, what are you going to do? My favorite
is weird.
My favorite is, like, she says, I'm not going to pick up when he calls. And he calls again, like, that morning, and she goes into an empty classroom. And I'm like, oh, Betty. Oh, Betty.
She's like Veronica, like Veronica says, she's in a abusive relationship with the Black Hood. It's not good between the two of them. And the Black Hood is so weird to her on the phone. He's like, I saw you. You are like me. You are righteous and destructive. And it's, like, really weird and gross. So who do you think the Black Hood is at this point? Like, where are you right now after
Still her father.
Still her father. It's gross then. Like, his obsession with her is, like, gross. A lot of people think it might be...
Who do they think?
Her brother. Her secret brother.
She has a secret brother.
Yeah, remember last season they revealed that her mother had a baby that was given away for adoption or given up for adoption?
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's him because they did cast him for this season, but I don't know how he's going to figure in. But I hope it's not her brother. I hope it's her dad. That's grosser and weirder.
I think it would be better if it was an established character, right? Because I feel like they do ask, okay, she does ask the Black Hood in the phone call episode, which I think was that
right.
2 weeks ago? Was
yeah, no, I think
she said, do you remember this? She said, would I recognize the face under the hood? So if it's somebody that she's never met before, but like it's because it's her brother, that's very misleading. I'll say that.
That would be cheap. And we don't want cheap Pretty Little Liars type bullshit here, Riverdale folks, okay? We want hard, cold, true mysteries.
The only thing that is ever cheap is the exploitation of Archie. Okay, did Archie lose his top in this one? Yes, he did. Yes. Of course, he did.
As always. Cheryl is also dealing with the fallout of Nikki St. Clair trying to rape her, and starting to rape her, actually. She's over at the lodges, who are being pretty nice to her, as they have been before. They shelter her in times of need, and they've called up her mother. And Penelope Blossom is being a real bitch about this. She's like, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything. We're not pressing charges. Nothing happened to Cheryl. She's fine. Nothing happened. And poor Cheryl, who was really broken up, is like, just snaps into it. She just like snaps and is like, okay, fine. Nothing happened. It's so sad. I was really sad for Cheryl in this episode.
I thought this episode had more for Cheryl to do than I think all the other episodes this year combined. I'm going to say that. She's kind of been a sort of a background character. She gets her own like run through plot line where we go back to her a bunch in this one. So I appreciated that. I like that all the Betty stuff wasn't resolved, really. Yeah. I feel in this one, even though maybe more or less it kind of was, but I feel, people just don't act like she didn't do anything. Speaking of Betty, we should talk about Jughead opening the episode, but Miss Topaz also waking up in his trailer, because I feel like we glossed right over that.
She stayed over. Tony Topaz stayed over, and they let you hang for a little minute. Maybe it takes about 5 minutes for them to resolve like what really happened that night, but they do show them at the diner having breakfast, and Tony's like, yeah, we just like groped each other. It's fine. I don't want to be anybody's rebound, which is a ridiculous thing for her to say. She just kissed him right after he said he broke up with his girlfriend. So that was silly, Tony Topaz. But Tony Topaz also says something not silly, which is that she is more into girls than boys.
Did you appreciate that there's a lady who likes ladies?
I think there's a lot of ladies on Riverdale who like ladies, but at least Tony Topaz is getting the conversation started and actually saying it. So finally, somebody's on the boards for the lady on lady team.
I feel like similar to Nancy and Jonathan in Stranger Things is that Tony really was like, there was sexual energy between her and Jughead because of their investigation of murdering. That really just brought them, they were like similar in a weird way, and I'm glad that she got to like just explore her feelings with her hands.
It was a PG-13 grope session, as
she kind of gave his head the old jug. That's really what right, gross. So Betty sees them though when she's walking to school with Archie the next day, and don't they both just look great? They look great.
Archie and Betty?
Yeah. I like how they're still walking each other to school now. despite
They don't have any books or backpacks or anything with them that would indicate they're ready to go to school.
they,
They're just
are they?
wandering along toward the diner.
It's kind of like what day is it? Is this a weekend? Are they going to school? I mean, I'm assuming because there's the raid on the school not that long after. This is a school day. Was that fair?
Season is it, Ryan? What season is it? Cheryl Blossom is sunbathing outside, and people are having, every place we go, there's like a roaring fire in the fireplace. In the day. What is happening in Riverdale? Is it the
I'm
winter?
sorry.
Is it spring? Then they're wearing
you
tank tops?
Okay, so let me just go over with you, Rose. The effects of Jingle Jangle are now in the town's water supply. And what happens is it means people are just hot and cold all the time, right? That's why you don't put that poison in your body, as Josie's mom so eloquently said to her. So really, I would avoid doing that because otherwise you will look at your fireplace and say, that puppy needs to be lit.
Fuck that up. So there is a meeting. Betty's mother, maybe it is Saturday because now there's a meeting of all the parents and all the kids who were at that party. And they're trying to figure out, I guess, what happened there. The sheriff wants to speak to everybody. It comes out that the kids did jingle jangle. And the sheriff's like, all right, where'd you get the jingle jangle? And then Reggie's like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. I got it from this guy. And his mom gets so mad. I really like Reggie's mom. I'd like to see some more of Reggie's mom. I doubt we will, but I really found her a fun addition to the crew.
Just delightful, really. She's like, Reggie! I feel like all the time it's anywhere they go in public together. Reggie! And he's like, huh?
Reggie?
Yo, Mom.
What, Mom? Fine.
I
Josie.
a little bit talking like a young Sylvester Stallone. He's like, yo, Ma, like I can't help it. People just give me these drugs and I gotta make the money.
Gotta do what he's gotta do.
No, get me
Josephine McCoy.
Get me my red hood and I'll take my top off and let's make some internet videos.
Josephine McCoy is in big fucking trouble.
Now, do you love Josephine's like casual I'm in trouble look? Because I love it.
You mean flannel? Her outfit? Yeah.
Her little flannel and jeans.
She's 100% a lesbian. She's wearing a flannel and ripped jeans and like a Henley under it.
She does look like she's about to move wood at Home Depot. Like that's her next stop.
She looks great. Her hair's back. She looks terrific. And her mother is pissed. Her mother is mad because Josie's father has struggled with addiction. I'm sure they've had like long talks about, that's caused for their family and why maybe her mom is a little worried about Josie having a biological predilection for becoming addicted herself. But of course, Josie's just a kid and she wanted to try it, so she did, and her mom is fucking mad. And then her mom goes, burn the South Side down. Like her reaction, like, Josie, you're grounded, but the South Side will never fucking see the light of day again. It's an interesting reaction. I don't know if that's just how she parents, by shutting down parts of town that might cause her daughter problems, or if she's like secretly in on this jingle jangle game.
I think it's like at this point it became personal because it was like it affected her daughter, but maybe it was because of the nature of the town hall meeting that they had, where it didn't really seem like anything got resolved. And really, aren't we all listening to Alice Cooper? I don't know that Cheryl's sunbathing in the sunbathing scene. I believe that's just her casual after-school outfit for reading. Like it also looks like it's a bathing suit a little bit. Like, was she swimming? I'm so confused.
Tanning. She also has lily white skin. Like her skin is porcelain white. Why would she be sunbathing? A child of that complexion cannot possibly sunbathe. She would be burnt to a crisp.
I do feel like if we could like sit down with like an interview, like some of the actors from the show, I do feel like Cheryl's probably my top pick Like,
Oh
I
my
have so many questions about her choices and her, like, not in a positive way. Like, because she's so cuckoo bananas. The way she flicks she does one of these to Betty to have her go away. It is also interesting. I don't know if you noticed this, Rose, but I'm going to say this even before I get through the full second viewing, is that all of the ladies tonight are reading books at different points.
Oh yeah, everybody's reading a book. I love it. It reminds me I should probably read more books.
But
Thank
not
you,
Jughead and not Archie.
Jughead's writing a book, and
And
Archie
definitely
doesn't know how to.
definitely not Reggie, bro. I don't even know how to read.
So yes, Mayor McCoy takes it very personally to the point where not only does she send the police to the South Side to do a raid and arrest all the serpents to no cause, she herself goes on the raid and like literally points at people being like, arrest that one, go over there. Like she's like just
Did you not
using the
know?
police to do her own personal bidding. It's really kind of crazy.
Did you not know that she basically, it's like, how the president's the commander in chief. Basically, it's like the mayor in chief. Like, she's got to go there and lead the charge in order to, get crap done. She's a hands-on mayor, Rose.
She's the head of a military force, I guess.
Now, do you agree that that dress was the right thing to raid a high school wearing? Because probably not.
If you're going to raid a high school, do it in a peach-colored sheath dress. That's all I have to say. It totally complements the German Shepherd straining at its leash to point out drugs. They do just bust up in that hallway. They arrest a bunch of kids. Archie gets there before they do, and he manages to drag Jughead out the back, trying to save Jughead from this situation. It's scary, and Jughead wants to save Tony, but Archie's like, "Don't worry about it; she'll be fine." Sort of just like does her own thing.
I believe, does Tony get released in the course of this episode? I believe she does, right? Did we not see it? I know Sweet Pea's only contribution to this is that he's basically at the scene in the beginning. I don't know if he's at the road warrior.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Like Jughead is at the drag race. I don't know. We'll see.
Also, look at Cheryl's outfit when she's going through her family mementos. She's basically dressed like she's clearly wearing like some sort of red lingerie over some sort of like long capelet thing. Like, her clothing is very bizarre in this show. It's very adult most of the time.
It is. She looks great. They all look terrific.
She looks so good, but it is like she has I feel like everybody has a specific sense of style, and then they get to Cheryl, and they're like, let's just go nuts, like, by the time they get to her,
They're reining themselves in on Betty, but they're like, put it all on Cheryl. So speaking of Betty, you like you said, she's ducking into a classroom to talk to the hood, and they're just like on the phone constantly. And the hood says, if you tell me who the sugar man is, then I'll stop. So we're like, who the fuck is the sugar man? They've never talked about a sugar man before, but now Betty is on the case. I think I have to get a plug in my computer. Can you hang on a second?
Yep.
Okay. You could talk if you want.
I'll wait for you.
What? No, it was all wonderful though.
You should mark the time to edit this out, too.
Hello.
Hi. I said you should mark the time to edit this out.
Just long stretches. Superman, so it's go to see is sitting outside on a lounge chair. What is Cheryl reading? It looks like a nice book.
I know we'll have to find out
Reading?
what all the books are.
And ask Cheryl, why does she start with Cheryl?
I don't know. You're breaking up a little. It's hard for me to hear you.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know if there's anything I can do about that.
You're coming in clear now.
Okay, good. Great. I don't know what that was. So we don't know why she starts with Cheryl?
Why? Who starts with Cheryl?
Why does Betty start by asking Cheryl about the sugar man?
Oh, because the hood says Clifford Blossom was the old supplier of the stuff for the drug. And you're friends with her. And I was like, didn't you just tell Betty to systematically destroy all her friendships? And also calling Cheryl and Betty friends, I feel like is loose at best.
Sounds like a dad. A dad thinks that you're friends with people that you're not really friends with just because you like are around them.
There's an episode of Buffy where Buffy describes Cordelia as a friend, and she goes, that's a radical interpretation of the text. And I feel like that is exactly what Cheryl Blossom would say, right?
Yeah.
Or she would say, like, I'm only friends with Dark Betty.
Oh, that's true. Cheryl Blossom and Cordelia do have some things in common, including dressing older than they should. Her bathing suit is amazing, though. Again, this is not somebody who would sit in the sun. She's sitting outside on like a
There's
foggy
no sun,
afternoon.
though. Is there sunlight in this show? Rarely, if ever. Okay, I'll say that.
I think Cheryl's reading in French. I don't know what is happening.
I do believe Cheryl Blossom speaks French, though. I believe that.
I think she's reading in French. Betty asked her about the sugar man, and Cheryl does know who the sugar man is. It's a story her mother used to tell her to scare her, like people's mothers do when they tuck them in at night.
I liked her little artistic rendition as a child of who she thought it was. It looked like a guy who robbed banks.
Well, because her mother told her it was somebody who would come and take them away if they weren't good. She's like, your dad knows the sugar man and he'll come and get you. Why would she say that? What the fuck is wrong with Penelope Blossom? Like, why did she do this to her children?
I don't know, but I do know that of her 3 intermediate family members, only one has survived. So
what happened to the old lady Blossom?
oh, she was in the house in the fire. We talked about that.
But they didn't say that. But they didn't like cover it.
You know why? Because embarrassingly, everybody forgot about her. Except us. Except us. We still remember. Never forget. Never forget.
So, but Cheryl says the sugarman's not real. Just a story, and sends Betty away. Betty still has to find out who's the sugar man. I was surprised that they wrapped that up in this one episode.
I'm glad they did, because we already have a Black Hood situation. We really don't need more than that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. The other thing that happens in this episode is that there's this big old turf war happening among the
serpents and the ghoulies.
Yes, exactly. Because now that all the serpents were arrested, or the serpents have been sort of like fingered for the jingle jangle trade, that the ghoulies are trying to take over. But it's funny because the ghoulies are the ones who are actually the dealers of the jingle jangle. The serpents don't deal with that shit.
I'm trying to decide generally if I liked Jughead in this one. I think I did.
trying to make moves. He's trying to like be more of a man, be more of a man of action. It's not his forte. It's not his natural way. It's hard for him to know what the right choices are. And that's the thing. He thinks too much. So somebody else wouldn't know what the right choices are and would just go and do whatever. But he's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And so he overthinks his moves. To the point where he has to ask somebody else what to do. He actually asks somebody what to do, who then says, go ask your dad what to do. So he's really thinking way too hard. But he's really very set against the idea that the serpents would allow the ghoulies to, like, join with them. He really feels they should not. That the ghoulies are not as good as the serpents, I think, is the idea that I get from Jughead.
I suppose we're supposed to believe that the serpents, being not pushed out of their territory or something, or because they don't deal drugs and the ghoulies do, that we're supposed to believe that the serpents are better. But I feel like maybe there shouldn't be any gangs in the town at all. Like, I don't think that, right? It's like that old adage of like, is it better to be burned to death or freeze to death? It's better not to die. Like, can we agree that the serpents aren't great either? And I would say that Archie is kind of like, he takes sort of a moral high ground that usually infuriates me whenever he does this, and he thinks he knows best and he's doing right. And I sort of agree with Archie in this one, which was uncomfortable for me.
There shouldn't be any of these gang warfares, and Jughead needs to not participate in this. It does seem to be taking a negative toll on Jughead.
It was like Jughead went through the gauntlet, and he is all about being a gang member all of a sudden. Like, he really just embraces his role in this one. I don't know, man. Not get involved. He was very content to be on the outside when this whole started. And he's definitely he's on a path now, I feel. It's not great.
But I think he sees it as bringing him closer to his father and being, like, aligned with his father. Whereas when this started, Tina's father were kind of, like, on the outs. Take care of his father and protect his father's legacy and, like, be like his dad in some ways. I think he's just trying to become a man. He doesn't really know what to do. Poor Jughead. I feel for him. He's such a little tender bunny. I can see why he's a sort of a heartthrob of this, even though Archie's like the beefcake and obviously Reggie too. But Jughead has his appeal, and in this one, he's still got his black eyes and everything from the gauntlet. He's an appealing young man in his cluelessness. Whereas Archie's cluelessness is just like, Archie, you just don't make any sense. But Jughead and Archie go to talk to FP to say, what should we do about this ghoulie situation?
I like the dramatic cut when they show FP in jail. Yeah.
I
would have preferred if it was more like he was behind a full glass case like Hannibal Lecter. And he would emerge from the shadows, and be like, well, Jughead, I have much to tell you about the ghoulies.
I don't think that they were trying to reference the Silence of the Lambs.
I'm saying I wanted them to, okay? And FB is like, so, Juggy, how's Betty? Is she well? Wouldn't that be amazing? Listen, please.
No, I would have turned it off. That's too scary for me. And if he's not that kind of guy, no. I think that they said it.
You remember how one episode ended with two kids making out, basically shot in the face, blood everywhere? And then hold on, let's talk about that other scene where Kevin imagines being stabbed. There's a couple times this year where this show has made me go.
But that's like suspense and excitement. That's not scary Hannibal Lecter stuff. That's different.
Oh, I just
and which is like hilarious because I was just listening to My Favorite Murder.
Yeah, it's too scary.
No, I was just listening to it today, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
I can't finish, like, I can't I will stay in my car to listen to them finish a murder. I
Gotta find out what
have to.
happened.
Yeah, I have to. I can't not let them complete the story. You know what I'm saying? I can't just, and then it's like, if I pick it up tomorrow, I'm like, wait, what important detail am I forgetting? When they leave out so many of the details, they look up. It's just funny. It's funny that it's
funny.
the amount of times I've stayed in my car to listen to them finish a story there's been more than once.
They're compelling in their lack of specificity. The scene that I really liked from this episode was Betty's talking to Sheriff Keller at the diner, and she's asking him about the jingle jangle and the sugar man and all that, but he doesn't really have anything for her. But Veronica sees her there. Veronica's also reading a book. She's like, so what the hell, Betty? Like, why did you betray me? And Betty's like, well, there's no sane answer. And then Veronica says, so what's the insane reason?
I really liked Veronica's reading glasses.
Yeah, Veronica looked amazing. And
she
Betty
dramatically takes them off to talk to Betty. Like very dramatically, very slowly.
So Veronica says, well, what's the insane reason that you betrayed me and talk shit about me in front of everybody? And the cut that was really great. The cut is just from Betty looking at her, like getting ready to open her mouth. And then when it comes back, it's just Betty like sucking on a milkshake, like to show time has passed. Like they've shown time has passed by a milkshake being drained, which is just such a great like Riverdale unit of time. And Betty's just giving her this crazy eyebrow, like, I don't know, do you want to believe me that I've been talking on the phone to a serial killer all this time? And Veronica's like, wow, you probably shouldn't be taking his calls. You're right about Cheryl's drawing of the sugar man.
Looks like a bank robber, right?
He does look like a bank robber. And it's a picture of her and Jason and then the sugar man in the background. And it's like, what kind of childhood did this, what poor Cheryl, what kind of childhood did she have?
I am pretty saddened that she looks so sad when she sees the picture of her and Jason. It is a nice callback to the first year. It is sad.
If her brother was kind and loving to her, I can see why it was so sad for her to lose him.
Do you remember when Betty comes up to her, too? She goes, hey, cousin, or hey, cuz. She says something like that. Like, that was pretty funny.
They are related. First of all, Cheryl's hair looks great in this episode. Eating a soft-boiled egg with a leather glove on and a white lace collar high up on her neck. I don't know where they get the ideas for this stuff, but it's amazing. But Cheryl asked her mom, like, what's up with the sugar man? She told Betty she wouldn't, but then she does. And her mother's like,
first of all, her mother is like cracking open, like, I'm gonna assume it's either like a hard-boiled egg, or like it looks more like it's some sort of like it's something where you have to crack the egg open to get inside, like a poached egg. I don't know. Soft-boiled egg. Okay, so that's what she's. So first of all, it's a very violent, like, close-up of that thing, and then Cheryl's asking her all these questions. But watch Penelope's face the entire scene. Just watch her eye work and how poised she is. And then the first thing out of Penelope's mouth is, as usual, Cheryl, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I love that, like, every time after school, it's like that is the conversation, is her doing some sort of violent snack and shutting Cheryl down.
It's so sad. I feel so sad for Cheryl. I really do. Her mother is mean to her all the time, and it's so upsetting. In this episode, it goes pretty deep into that, and I don't like it. I want Cheryl to get some good cuddles from somebody who really cares. All the youngins have to do community service, I guess, because they did drugs. Their parents are like, now you have to clean up this shitty field.
I don't know if this
like
was
you work at Walmart.
if this was forgotten or because she has her own story in this one, but Cheryl was at the party doing drugs too. And
Cheryl
she's
doesn't
not,
clean up things.
oh, she doesn't do it. You know what? Neither does Josie.
No, Josie's like, I have to be present, but you will not actually get any of my time. So
Yo!
she's just on her phone.
Yo, I know you like Beyonce or something, but could you like help? Yo, you want to see me flex? You want to see it?
She might want to see him flex. She does give him a little like eyebrow of perhaps interest. She was enjoying the flirtation, so we'll see what happens with Josie and Reggie. I guess I could be like okay with that, but I do think she's secretly a lesbian. But that was pretty funny. I like their little interaction. Until Veronica comes through and says that she needs to talk to Reggie because she wants to find out what his drug connections are, because now she has joined the #1 lady detective agency and along with Betty is trying to figure out who the sugar man is. So they go down to the south side. Veronica acts like she's going to buy some drugs so that they can follow the dealer back to the Ghoulies' lair. Why would he go back to the lair like immediately? Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he would just go into the store. Maybe he would just go to his own house. Like, he didn't have to go right back there. But he does, and they actually catch Veronica and Betty, like, sneaking there. And they drag them inside to the Ghoulies, like, you know, war room. And Jughead and Archie are also there. And that was the funniest scene when they're like, Jughead, Archie, Betty, Veronica. Great. Thank you for that, Maggie.
I believe they all say, "What are you doing here?" at exactly the same time. Also, like, let's just talk for a second about the set decoration of the Ghoulies' lair. There is, while Jughead is talking, there's a candelabra that's like muted in the background. So it also looks like some sort of animal skull is hanging over a wooden rafter. But something that is very visible is a British flag that says RIP on the right-hand corner. I do not know.
RIP to the British Empire.
What is it like? Were they the Ghoulies all British descendants? I'm very confused. It also looks like they're either closing off or putting the jingle jangle in with a glue gun. There's a clear shot of like them using the glue gun on the end of it.
With the glue gun. I don't know why that would be, but they are. I don't even know how that would be. Like, what's the cartridge of it? Like, how do you put it in? I don't understand.
I don't know.
I don't understand how you would put a powder into something with a glue gun.
I have no idea. I feel like they were trying to find things that would look druggy, and that was.
Why would a glue gun, like, that's not even how a glue gun works.
So, Rose, listen, not to change the topic, but I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Do you need a mechanic? Because if you do,
I'm going to buy a car just so I could get that mechanic to work on it. Are you fucking kidding me?
Did you know that Betty Cooper can totally fix cars?
Yes, I did. She has fixed a car before with her dad in season 1. So I did. Jen asked that too. She was like, since when does Betty fix cars? And I'm like, since this whole time, we actually knew that Betty fixed cars. And I am so glad that they are giving her the opportunity again. Betty is the best. And she looks terrific fixing a car for her ex-boyfriend, Jughead, so that he can drive against the Ghoulies in a race for territory. She objects to all of it. And down-ass bitch, man. She's there for...
Did you know she's got some car fixing overalls that she can just whip out on demand?
I didn't know, but I was pleasantly surprised. I was just so happy about the whole Betty mechanic fan fiction extravaganza that came onto my screen. It was a gift. In these troubled times, these gifts mean a lot to me. Oh, ew. Cheryl is eating like a hamburger with a knife.
It's a
and
turkey
pork.
burger.
I don't know what the fuck is going on, but there's a lot of ketchup on it.
They say
so many motions.
they say very expressly that it's a turkey burger in that scene. Also, the way she's starting to like cut into it is very violent. I believe on purpose.
She's upset because she's mad at her mother. Her mother's like hushed her rape up and swept it under the rug, and now is lying to her about the sugar man. And it's all a lot of craziness. She needs a shake and fries and a burger, and she's just trying to eat her food and murder it in peace. When fucking shitty ass Nikki St. Clair shows up to nobody's happy about that. And he dares to speak to Cheryl and tell her that she was begging for it. Fucking gross. This guy sucks.
That scene is
He
really
sucks.
and then just to like prove he's powerful or some shit, he pays for her.
Yeah.
Like
No,
that
that's
was
slimy as shit. He was disgusting, and he ate a Cobb salad. I like Cobb salads, but if I were gonna go on the road, like he's getting a fucking Cobb salad for the road, it's a rapist ass move if I ever heard of one. He's gross.
It was funny, but it's the fact that he was eating a Cobb salad, he was not paying attention, and he didn't have his seatbelt on, which of course factors into events later.
He deserves every fucking car crash he gets. That guy sucks. I hope we never have to see his face again. Or if we do, maybe he'll be all mangled. Betty in her overalls is just adorable. And then Jughead also has like a coveralls. They're in the auto shop. I guess Riverdale has an auto shop where they're working. And they're using Reggie's car. I like that too. They explained whose car this was. Reggie has a fancy looking car, but it's like shitty under the hood. So Betty's souping it up for them. And I love her bun. I love her overalls. I love her teary little eyes as she turns to Jughead and tries to explain she broke up with him to protect him.
She sort of doesn't explain, though. She just said she's going to explain later, which she says to Veronica at school, but then the next time she sees her, she just tells her. So that I think they explain it away as she wants Jughead to focus on the race.
Well, why does Jughead have to be there with her at all? To drive the car, he doesn't need to know what kind of...
Like her in the overalls
she put in.
He's also wearing a Riverdale Auto Shop jacket, and I feel like this is in the same vein where they dressed up for Pop's like reopening, where he was like a cook and she was like a waitress. Is that like this is a weird component of their relationship that we didn't know about, which is that they like to dress up and role play, right?
It's adorable.
Yeah.
I hope there's a very long and detailed fan fiction series about it. So, okay, now we're at the Thornhill with Cheryl and her mother. Cheryl.
Well, it's more like Thorn Spike, right? It's Spike Hill.
What's it called? It's called.
It has a stupid name.
Thornhill Jr. Cheryl is just so upset and crying.
It's really good scene.
Oh my god!
You said this was. It's that scene, and then it's the scene with her mother later, where her mother is so upset that it's like these people who just by default hide all of their emotions, and then when they finally get emotional, it's like this big deal. I like that. I like both of them in both of those scenes.
Cheryl is asking her mother for the sugar man's name again, and she's extorting this information from her mother because she has gone and found the check that the St. Clairs gave her mother for their silence on the Cheryl's attempted rape, or rather on Nikki's attempted rape of Cheryl.
Yes.
And she's like, "You're not getting this check until you tell me who the sugar man is." And her mother doesn't want to tell her. And Cheryl just breaks down and she's like, "You forgave my father for murdering your son. And you can't do this for me. You can't protect me." And she literally says, "Love me more." It's so sad. It's crazy how, like, the sad... There's something about the show, because I'm trying to figure out what genre it is, and I've determined the genre. This is a soap opera. This is a straight up soap opera. There are all kinds of soap operas.
All CW shows are essentially soap operas.
This is soap opera. And it just happens to meld a lot of different soap opera elements, but it has that structure of like, it has all these different sort of hubs, different areas and locations, and you're checking in with different people, and then they like interact with each other, and it could go on for a really long time with all these different like plots spinning out from these different interactions. But within that crazy format that also has humor and also has mystery elements and also has like high school drama elements, there's like
I would say a little bit horror too. It's always struck me
a
a
little
bit of
horror
a,
too.
especially this year. It's a lot more of a horror show.
Yeah, there's suspense for sure, but it has this tenderness to it as well. And I don't know if that's just because of the actors they chose, or if they chose those actors because they have that tenderness to them. But there's like a real core of vulnerability in everybody, and they really highlight those vulnerable moments and give them these opportunities to like show that soft side of themselves and the neediness of each of them. And that's what I really like about it. That's what makes it a great show. And just like on top of all that weird ass drama, there's a
softer side.
Yeah, like a pathetic humanness to all of them. I love it.
Listen, Rose. I don't just want this. I need this.
Listen, Cheryl recovers pretty quickly, puts on her red shorts and tank top, and gets down to the drag race post-haste so she could be the flag girl, which is usually Tony Topaz's job, but she's taking it over. So you're right. Tony's there. But none of the other serpents really are.
Yeah, right.
And again, I don't know what season it is. Cheryl is dressed like it's summer. Fire in their fireplace. These kids are all just like it's summer. I don't understand what's happening.
Rose, Cheryl was born for this. Okay? That's what she says.
She looks amazing.
It's really the way she signals them off.
Yeah, with a beautiful red scarf.
She keeps a red ribbon, a long ribbon, just in case something like this comes up. It's always in her.
I think it's a scarf.
Sure.
Everybody's looking amazing, and you're right. Everybody's cosplaying like Grease, because Betty's wearing like a Rosie the Riveter kerchief in her hair, and everybody looks like, I don't know, everybody looks like they're in a scene from Grease, and they even show the cars off. Like they do kind of a little homage there as the cars take off. They sort of run after them in a way that Riverdale kids usually don't. So I liked it though. And they go on.
My favorite is if you look at when the scene first opens, there is like a great wallpaper shot of most of the cast like around the car, and like you just have to see Cheryl sitting on the hood. Like that's what she's doing when it comes on the scene, and it's like, yeah, just had a big fight with my mom, now just chilling on top of this.
Yeah,
car.
It's weird. Josie and the Pussycats aren't there, are they? I feel like they're missing. They should be there. I think they would definitely bring some change.
Josephine is grounded, Rose.
Yeah, you're right. She is. She's in big trouble.
I don't know what led you to think that Josie thought it would be a good idea to go to an illegal car race, but she is not allowed out of the house at the moment.
No, you're right. And I bet you her mother called like Melody and Valerie's parents and was like, did you know that they were doing drugs? And now they're all in fucking trouble.
And she's now getting routine drug tested 2 to 3 times at home every day. That's what's happening too. So
her mother's no joke.
No.
But you can't be a joke when you're trying to raise a powerful woman in this world. So I appreciate her stance. I really do. If any parent I identify with on this show, it is Mayor McCoy. That's me. If my kid did drugs and I thought it was coming from one specific place, I would, if I could, run up in that piece. I would. Just to be like, I'm not going to fuck around about this. This is not a joke, Josie. You're lucky I let people call you Josie and not enforce the Josephine. Maybe that's a little heavy-handed, though. The drag race does not go as planned. They're racing. Jughead might win. Jughead might not win. Until Archie pulls the parking brake. How did you feel about that?
Like I said, I was behind Archie in this one. Like, I thought he was right.
Jen was so upset with Archie
yeah,
for pulling the parking brake. She had to leave the room and not finish watching the rest of the show. I was like, what is it? And she's like, I identify with the serpents very strongly, I guess. And I was really surprised by that reaction.
You have your own little Tony Topaz at home. It turns out.
Ooh.
No.
She also prefers ladies. I don't know. I was like, oh, I see why he did it, because he knew the cops were right up ahead, so he had to do what he had to do. Archie called the cops. He and Betty have a lot in common in that they think they know what's best for everybody.
Yep. It's why they belong together, Rose, ultimately.
Do you think in the end, do you think they're going to get Archie and Betty together at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably next year, I guess. Because now they seem like good friends. They seem like solid friends. I think a lot of things would have to happen for them to like suddenly start getting into the bone zone.
Jughead has his serpents. Veronica has her parents. What really do Betty and Archie have? Well, first they have the Black Hood, but now they're sharing that with each other. So if you really think about it, yeah.
They always team up. They depend on each other a lot. Archie has his dad. Archie has his football team. Betty has her mysteries. Betty is at loose ends sometimes.
Let me just tell you something.
Black Hood.
It turns out that we find out that Archie really prefers brunettes. So maybe Betty won't date him. Maybe Dark Betty will date him.
Archie cannot handle Dark Betty, please.
Please. I think Archie would like to be handcuffed in the hot tub.
Archie and Jughead come back in to where they took off from, and everybody's like, holy shit, what happened with the cops? And really mad at Jughead. They're like, what are you fucking going to the cops? Like, what is this? Who are you? And that he's the one who called the cops. Yeah, the ghoulies are off the chessboard. I don't understand why the ghoulies are all off the chessboard. 2 ghoulies from high school in a car got arrested. That doesn't mean the ghoulies don't care about anything anymore. That doesn't destroy their organization.
Their leader is in jail, though.
But that doesn't destroy the organization. That's the whole point of a step up.
I mean, like the serpent, Rose, the serpents were pretty critically dependent on FP. So, and we see his second in command is really not that great in this one. So now Jughead's apparently running the show and doing parlay and like reaching out to adult gang leaders. I really feel like there's a leadership gang vacuum that maybe Mr. Lodge saw when he got to town. And that's part of the reason he's trying to manipulate events. Maybe.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. Their gang power structures just aren't very well thought out. They don't really develop leadership. That serpent lawyer is good. They should go to her.
She's back in the next one.
I can't wait.
As is Chuck. Chuck is his ultimate return is in the next episode.
Chuck's an asshole too. He's another fucking.
Guess who he's got his eye on?
Who?
Josephine.
I don't think she's a fan of that.
Did you not see this promo for the next one?
I didn't pay attention. I did see the promo, but I don't recall. I was tired when I saw it. Cheryl goes back to her mom after in her drag race gear. And again, Cheryl's coming in shorts and a tank top and a leather jacket and a scarf to her mother who's sitting in front of a roaring fire. What season is it? What season is it?
The fall summer.
Riverdale, it's like it takes place in the past and all the past is happening at once. I love it. I do. I think it's sort of on purpose. They must say on purpose that they don't care what season it is because they just do attend to the details in so many other ways they must have on purpose decided that they don't care.
The set
It's just
designer
about
just loves a roaring fireplace, Rose. Okay, just embrace.
Maybe it's well, I don't know. Anyway, so Cheryl's mom was just sitting before a roaring fireplace in her leather glove. Is a leather glove the best thing to wear when you were burned? I don't think so, but that's what she's doing. Cheryl comes in and is basically like, fine, you can have your check. I don't know. You like this scene. Do you want to say anything about it?
Just that, well, like her mother burning the check, I feel like is a big character move for Penelope. I think she's realizing in what has been a pretty, like we really saw their antagonistic relationship last year, or maybe her dismissive relationship with Cheryl. And then really Cheryl got the upper hand in the premiere of this year, right? And then now it was back where Cheryl was in a more defensive position for most of this episode. It's really nice to see them on the same page.
Yeah.
And at least trying to be a mother and daughter in a weird way. And it's almost like the as functional as I think they've portrayed Kevin and his father, they really have shown us how dysfunctional Cheryl's home situation is. But for her mom to even do one symbolically nice gesture for her, I think was a big deal.
Yeah, for her it means a lot.
I appreciated that. And Cheryl did too. She says, thank you for that, Mom.
Well, and it means too that she can go ahead and press charges against her would-be rapist. So it's a big deal that her mother's like believing her and prioritizing her. I do wish though, in that shot when she chucks the check into the fire, that they would have shown the check actually like taking the flame. Show it like in the fire, but it doesn't catch fire, and I just wish I just saw that check catch fire. I think the fires
aren't very high because it's probably not that cold based on Carol's outfits.
The summer. Betty is on the phone with Black Hood again. Always, it's like they're in a book group together, and they're like, "What are you bringing?" "I'm bringing wine." "Oh, I was gonna bring a white." "What you bring a red, I'll bring a white. I'm the Black Hood." I can't stop calling you on the phone.
But Betty decides she's going to change the nature of this conversation.
Well, that I really loved. That was at the end. She turns the tables. But before we get to that, can I just say I'm really sad she changed her ringtone for this guy?
Me too. That
was a real bummer. Because that ringtone was so good. Why would she change it?
I don't know, because it was giving her nightmares. She could never enjoy a lollipop again.
She should have changed it to something else. Like, what's another Candy song?
Candy Girl?
I was playing that the other day, but no, not that one. I don't know. She should have changed it to another candy-related, sugar-related tune. There's so many. Sugar! Yes, please! So you could have changed it to that.
No.
Every time he called. And little Adam Levine. No? You don't think so?
No, maybe like in the Hall of the Mountain King.
Oh my God. But you're right. Betty does decide to turn the table. She gets her shit together and she's like, fine. Yes, I found the sugar man, but now you're my fucking bitch. Dark Betty is going to show a little bit through the facade. Because the thing is, the Hood is right. He and Betty are alike.
Yeah, I mean,
Betty
the Black Hood underneath his hood wears a black bob wig the entire time he's murdering. Did you know that?
They are alike. But Betty's going to use her powers for good, I guess, as she sees it, to keep the Hood in line, threaten him. Which I was just like, ooh, I feel like the Hood is like getting off on this, which is gross because I think it's her dad.
You think you're agreed? You think it's her dad as well?
I hope it's her dad. And I love that she's like, I solved every mystery in this fucking town. I found out who the Sugar Man was. I found out who killed Jason, and I'm gonna fucking find you. So you get your ass ready. And the Hood has nothing to say to that.
Wouldn't it be interesting if we found out that the man we've known as Betty's father, like, wasn't her birth father?
Ew. But
Like
who's her
somebody.
father? Oh, this has nothing to do with anything, but I heard a great theory on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave space here so I can go back and figure out who said this theory and credit them. So,
Okay.
crediting the person here. But this person on Twitter said that their theory, they were like, I just started watching Riverdale. My theory is Betty's mom and Veronica's mom used to fuck. And I was like, yes, back when they were all serpents. I think that's a great idea. Because why do they hate each other so much?
I don't know.
Exactly. So maybe Veronica's mom is Betty's real dad.
I do feel like there's some weird passion between
Hermione and
no, there's a lot of antagonism
Alice.
between Fred and Alice, and I'm wondering where that comes from. Like, did they bone zone in high school, and then really that's a good reason why Archie and Betty can't be together, because they are half siblings?
Oh, whoa, no.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Or maybe it's FP. Maybe FP bone zoned Alice Cooper, and it's Betty and Jughead.
Alice Cooper and FP definitely had sex. I think everybody used to be serpents and have sex together. That's all. That's my theory. There's like a secret undershow where all their parents were in a gang and fucking. I'd like to watch that as well. This is the first time I've actually been like this interested in people's parents in a show of this nature, which is why again, like, takes me to that soap opera place where everybody kind of has their weird vibe.
A funny thing about the Secret Circle that they really, you kind of had to suspend disbelief, was that right, it's all about these kids who are like in high school who are witches, but they all had parents who were also witches, but all of the parents, right, were in the circle, and there had to have been 12 different parents who all sort of knew about it. And then so that's a lot. And then all of them, 6 of the girls, all 6 of them got pregnant when they were 16. Which doesn't, that, like, there's a statistic problem with that. And then it was also like they never even tried to explain it like as a magic thing. And then inexplicably one of the characters dies in the first year, and he has an older brother. And it was like, wait, how can he have an older brother? Like, the parents bone zoned when they were 16.
Wait, no, yeah.
It makes no sense.
Maybe they adopted an older child later in life. At the end of this episode, a couple of things happen pretty quickly. Betty tells the Hood she's breathing down his neck. So how does that feel to him? The Hood, I think, actually secretly likes it, which is weird and gross. Goes at home, and her parents get a call saying that Nikki St. Clair was in a terrible accident because I guess the Hood decided to take him out. He'll be okay, but he's not okay right now. And as far as I understand it, he's still being brought up on charges of attempted rape. So Nikki's life has really taken a turn for the worse. Thank God, because he deserves it. The Hood.
Well, hold on. Veronica, while Veronica's dad is saying this, delivering the information, Veronica's face goes from horrified to Hermione, and Hermione looks back at her with a gigantic glass of wine, and she just goes, "Karma's a bitch," and that's it. So Veronica teetering on the dark side is fun, I think.
Well, and I have to give the lodges on the whole some credit here, because none of them thought that this attempted rape should be swept under the rug. None of them thought that Nikki was right. That didn't mean that her parents and Nikki's parents couldn't do business together. So I won't give them full credit, but they definitely were like, you shouldn't have done that.
No, they say they're not taking any money from them. They say that. Yeah.
Good.
Oh no, his dad's like, we're not taking any money from them after Veronica tells them. So they're
About
pretty
her,
unified in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know this is fucked up. The Sugar Man is arrested. Turns out that was the guy who was the newspaper advisor at Southside.
Yes, which explains why Jughead can't write about gangs or drugs.
That makes sense.
That was they showed that clip on the previously on just to let you know.
Just
There was an ulterior motive he had about why he was censoring Jughead, which, by the way, Jughead ignores in his first issue. He basically writes all about it anyway. So,
well, Jughead's gonna do what Jughead's gonna do. But when this professor is arrested, not professor, teacher. When this teacher is arrested, he's put in jail, and then somebody goes and shoots him in the face.
Yep.
The Hood, I presume. So,
yep.
Betty, you did get 2 people like murdered, attempted murdered for one. And then we're at Jughead's house in Jughead's trailer, and guess who's there, cozy with him?
I don't know.
Betty.
Oh yes, they have a little end thing because she told him everything.
Told him everything. They're reunited. Betty is back, and Jughead is typing away, and Betty is sitting next to him. And do you know what Betty is reading?
No.
The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, see, I didn't even know. But I love it. I love every part of it.
Started reading The Silence of the Lambs. So it's like she told the Hood, I'm going to get you. And then she was like, what should I read right now? And it was The Silence of the Lambs. She's going to Clarice Starling this motherfucker. And they are very cozy. And I think in the previous or the next episode, they are waking up together. So maybe they will get more intimate.
They took it down to the bone zone?
I think that may not be the word for them. It seems like it's probably going to be like tender and very emo for those two. But I don't know. Betty does have that dark BDSM side. So I guess maybe there's a lot for them to explore together. We'll see.
I mean, Jughead does love tank tops now. So
he's Mr. Tank Tops.
He loves it. He's like, hey. Andy loves fast cars. He's got a lot of things going on.
Listen, he seems like a nice boyfriend. He cares for her. They love solving mysteries together. They love hanging out and doing literary things. They're a great couple.
I wonder if he told her that Tim and Tony Topaz went to touchy-feely
to third base.
Time. Yeah.
I don't think he told them. I bet you he did not tell her. Casually refer to it because she'll assume that he did tell her, and then Betty will be like a little bit betrayed for like a half an episode, and that'll be fine. Not enough Kevin in it.
You know what? Kevin still gets more screen time than Josie, and I have a problem with that.
Josie got a little more screen time this time because she got that little flirtation with Reg.
Barely.
She doesn't get to talk a lot even when she's in the scene. So I really want to hear her talk.
She's saving her voice. She's saving her voice for her gigs.
That's true.
So, just for fun, right? Because I always say I'm going to post on Facebook and I didn't. What I did was there is a pretty modern X-Men bad guy named the Sugar Man, who is this fat dude with 4 arms, whose face is half his body, and he had a tongue that would go through people. And I posted a picture of him on our Facebook. But that is basically how I picture the person who was selling Jingle Jangle every time they said Sugar Man. I pictured that. Yeah, he's gross. Are you looking at it now?
I am looking it up right now. He's just like a giant head with the tongue and 4 arms. Like he's exactly how you described it. Oh,
yep.
That's not the. Oh, poor Cheryl. What nightmares? No.
Yeah. So that's the story that the Blossoms told their children right before bedtime.
Why did my mother have to tell her anything about the Sugar Man at all?
I don't know. They were trying to tie it into something. Like, how would Cheryl know anything about it? Oh, there you go.
Her mom used to tell her, but why? It doesn't make any sense. I guess she just wanted to torture her children with weird, scary stories. She's not a good mom. All right, that's it for this episode. Who do you think came out on top, Betty or Veronica?
Definitely Betty tonight because
100%.
of her mechanic outfit. That was it. It was tipped it over the top for me. Even though it's getting, I will say this, listeners, it's getting harder for me to pick. It is. I love them both so much. It's hard to decide whether or not Betty or Veronica. But I will say this is why I wanted us to have a thing we do at the end where it was hard. But I will say it was. I feel it was Betty's hour. It really was. Because you know
Veronica
what, Rose?
did have that moment at the end there where she was like, "Mwahaha, karma's a bitch."
Rose, on the back of my neck right now, I can feel it. I can feel her.
Betty, because she also like subsumed Veronica into her crazy orbit this episode, and Veronica was like, "Yeah, I'm with you." Veronica's another ride or die. Like, they're great, man. I love them as friends. They're both really extra, but that's what makes them unstoppable as a team.
It was a good one though. I like how we got some stuff accomplished.
Yeah, we move forward. I don't know what's gonna happen next time. That's the thing about Riverdale. You don't know what's gonna happen next time.
Can we spend 2 minutes talking about how good Supergirl was this week? It was very unexpectedly good.
I didn't see it yet. It. Where they go to the hometown, I didn't see it.
Alex is, I think you will like how Alex is not okay in the episode. She is very...
Yeah, she wouldn't be okay.
Yeah, so they spend a lot of time reminiscing about a time where they did not get along as children, which is very interesting because they have a pretty big fight when they first get home, because I think Alex is looking to make others suffer because she's so upset. So
yeah, she's upset.
Next week though, because a lot of it was Kara trying to say that she's better and that she's okay and not really sounding super convinced. And in the next episode, Mon-El comes back.
Of course he does.
But Rose, it doesn't look like he's okay. And it looks like this whole thing she's been going on, this emotional thing, is like whatever progress she made is not gonna carry through. It looks like it's pretty upsetting. So
what do you mean that he doesn't look okay?
He's got a pretty big beard now, and he is not smiling in any of the promo shots. He doesn't look like he's the same carefree, I don't give a shit, Kara's so pretty and I love her pretty hair anymore. He seems like something went down and he's serious now.
He's Shane.
So
okay.
I know you hate him. I know you hate him, but I just rewatched the second year.
Don't care for him. It's just not my thing.
I like him as a lens for Kara having emotions. So I like that.
I don't know. Can't get that excited about Mon-El. Sorry.
I am. We're reverse excited about different things. So.
All right. Do you have anything to recommend this week?
No, I did just get the Riverdale graphic novel. So I'm gonna start trying to read it in the background a little bit.
Great.
See if it's any good.
See if it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Did I have anything to recommend this week? I thought of something and now I forget what it is.
But you can always write it down and say it in the next podcast.
Oh, I do have something to recommend this week.
There she goes, guys.
It may be a long time after by the time this thing is out, but if you have not read the profile of Gal Gadot, I don't know how to say her name. Gal Gadot.
I believe it's Gal Gadot.
It's not Gadot. They say in this profile of her, that's not really how you say it. Gal Gadot. Anyway, this profile of her from GQ by an author named Katie Weaver is fucking amazing. It just captures the fact of this woman in such a delightful way that I highly recommend everybody read this profile. It's called Gal Gadot Kicks Ass, and it's by Katie Weaver in GQ. and I highly recommend it. It is just, she's the Wonder Woman we deserve in this world. We're so lucky to have her.
I agree.
It's really funny. You should read it. The pictures are great too, but it's just a funny article. So I recommend that.
All right. Well, that
We will see you next time. Oh, follow us on Twitter at Pretty Recaps. And I did sort of live tweet it. I think I tweeted at 9 o'clock. But I'll be tweeting the episodes on the day of. So go over there and then subscribe
do it.
on the iTunes or wherever.
Do it. You want
Rate and
to.
review.
Do it. You want to.
Do it all. I will admit, I did get a little off schedule with the updates because I had a couple hard weeks, but I am back on track. There will be updates coming at you hard and fast. So
It's okay. You have a new mouth to feed. It's a little chameleon mouth. So
Karma's the bitch, and Karma's also my chameleon.
I'm so glad you have a karma chameleon.
Yeah, it's really funny. The vet called, and they were like, "Oh, we're calling to confirm Karma's appointment. Karma, the chameleon." And then she goes, "Oh, I get it." It's fun. All right, you have to work tomorrow, so I will let you go.
All right.
It's been fun, Ryan. I'll see you next week.
Bye, Rose.
Bye.